Hi there. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here for the show we do Tuesday night, which is the mini-series thing. So we have 6 episodes in total going to be done here. We're on episode 4, which is the catalyst for this genre. And the genre we're doing tonight is progressive rock. Progressive rock on the Prog Monster. That's where we're at. So, who were the bands that kind of influenced my movement towards progressive rock? Well, it was pretty easy. It's not going to be a surprise to anybody here. These are the 2 bands, Yes and Rush. Now, some people will say Rush is a hard rock band. I beg to differ. I think of them as progressive rock bands. All the albums that I like going forward, from Fly By Night right through to Rush, to this album, actually further, if you might say, right into the techno pop era of Rush. They still had a huge volume of progressive stuff going on their albums. Yes, of course, this was my first Yes album. That's why I picked it to show here. But I went back in their discography through the 70s, and those are the 2 bands that really exploded the progressive rock scene for me. Both Rush and Yes. Where Rush initially was my favorite band going forward in the 1980s. Yes took that over around the end of 1982, mid 82 to late 82. They became my favorite band for about 20 years before Rush came back and took it over again. But basically, those 2 bands, within a couple of year period from 1980 to about 82, 83, I collected almost all the progressive stuff going backwards of theirs. And they were the 2 primary bands I listened to pretty much all the time, at least in the progressive rock field. Now, a few other bands started to creep in, little bits and pieces, Genesis being one. I had the 2 first 2 Phil Collins albums, Wind in the Wuthering and Trick of the Tail, as 2 of the albums I was into. But I never really followed Genesis beyond that, really. A little bit more with Peter Gabriel. Why is... that's weird. I'm getting a little bit of a flashy look here. Anyways, and a little bit of, well, I did get the One Gentle Giant album, and then bits and pieces of prog rock from other bands that had some prog influence in them. But generally speaking, for a long period of time, it was dominated by those 2. And then over the course of my history, Genesis really took off at some point early in this century, and Pink Floyd maybe a little bit earlier. But those were the dominant bands. So the first 2, Rush and Yes, really were the ones that influenced me into this genre. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, as they say. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to, you can put your comments, which bands got you into the prog scene. Were they the same as mine, or did you perhaps go back further and really get into it from other bands? Anyways, hope to see you all next week for episode 5, and we will take care. You will take care, and have a good night. Goodbye here from the Prog Monster. Take care. Bye.